Eye-opening results from an antibody test released in New York, the epicenter of the coronavirus outbreak in the U.S. Preliminary results showed 1 of every 5 New York City residents tested positive for antibodies for the coronavirus, suggesting that the virus had spread far more widely than known. If the pattern holds, the numbers suggest that as many as 2.7 million New Yorkers may have already been infected by the virus.
Joining us now, Scott Whitaker, CEO of AdvaMed and former Chief of Staff with the Department of Health and Human Services. Scott, good to see you. Hey, we want to caution these results. They're preliminary, but what do you make of the fact that the virus could have been far more prevalent than anyone really first thought?
Yeah, many people have suspected that might be the case, and it sounds like with these antibody tests, we're getting a better sense of that. I think in one sense, it can be comforting for us as we're trying to understand the depth and the spread of the disease. And what I would say also is we have more of these antibody tests coming, the serology tests. We think over the course of the next few weeks, they'll be much more prevalent, and we'll be able to do more broad testing across the nation to better understand where the disease was, what progression it is, and whether or not people are immune from the disease coming back and infecting them again, which is an important public health component.
Yeah, we keep hearing we need these tests to tell when people could potentially get back to getting back to normal. But if these numbers hold true, would it suggest, of course, that the death rate would be far lower than previously thought? Do you think that means potentially that some state governments went too far with lockdown orders, of course, knowing now what we do compared to what we knew then?
Yeah, looking back, sometimes you can make that judgment, but I think knowing what we knew then, the president did the right thing and governors are generally doing the right thing too. We had to err on the side of caution until we had better scientific evidence to understand the disease progression across the nation, and we're starting to get there. Let me just also say there are 2 types of testing that we're working on. One is the serology test that we mentioned earlier. The other is also the PCR test on the front end to diagnose who has the disease, if anyone has the disease. And we're continuing to work on those as well. Both of those tests are necessary in order to get people back to work.
Which is something that I know a lot of viewers out there definitely want to be doing if they could. If you see the results from this test here, is this something that you would tell people, hey, we should get the antibody test if it's available to us? Should as many people as possible get this test?
Yes, but I would say don't rush to do it because we need to scale it up and then allocate it appropriate to the hot spots where it's needed most. You can't manufacture a test like this overnight and have 300 million available in the next week or 2. So we'll have to be patient as we roll out these tests and make sure they're targeted to the right communities, which will better inform our strategy going forward in the summer months and then, of course, in the fall as well.
Yeah, one of the biggest comments you hear a lot now is, hey, I think I may have had coronavirus at some point. So this will be able to tell that. That's Scott Whitaker, CEO of AdvaMed and former Chief of Staff in the Department of Health and Human Services. Thank you, sir. Stay safe.
Good.
Still to come.